virtual photo walks.
We're looking at the 16-inch 50 caliber rifled barrels of the number 3 turret on board the USS Missouri. Each barrel is about 67 feet long. Each barrel weighs in at 239,000 pounds. To give you a visual on that, one barrel weighs as much as a NASA space shuttle. 2 barrels weigh as much as a loaded 747. As you look at the turret, you can see a round foundation on it. That's called the barbette, French for collar. That barbette extends down 5 decks. At the bottom of that 5 decks would be the bottom of the ship. Inside the barbette, which is about 12 inches thick, armored steel, are 5 decks attached to the gun. The bottom deck would be for the powder storage to fire the projectiles. Decks 3 and 4 would be for the projectiles themselves. Can swing 120 degrees either way. It has the capability of swinging the full range of 240 degrees in 47 seconds. Normal gun crew size in there would be between 90 and 95 men. From there down to the bottom level of the 5th deck.
How heavy are those shells?
The shells, the armor-piercing round weighs 2,700 pounds. That's about the same as Volkswagen Beetle. Yeah. The infamous Volkswagen Beetle. And then the high-capacity explosive weighs in at 1,900 pounds.
Wow. Let's take a little tour over to this side and see what we can see. You getting that, Jamie?
Yes, I got it.
Good, man. Good, man. Make sure I'm blue boxed in there.
Yes, you still are.
This is a great shot back from here. Shows you. I mean, you're only showing about maybe 100 feet of it, and it's just massive. Designed to.
Maybe I don't think you see it.
Imagine back in the 50s and things when it's rolled into harbor. How many ships would travel with this?
Normally it would be part of a task force. Back in the 40s, it was the flagship for Admiral Halsey for the 3rd Fleet. After World War II, about 1955, they decommissioned it and sent it to Bremerton, Washington, where it sat in the mothball fleet for 29 years.
Would you happen to know the difference between the Alabama and this one?
The Alabama is actually an earlier class of battleship. The battleship Missouri ended up being the very last battleship to be commissioned during World War II. It came out January 29th, 1944. Construction was started January 6, 1941 in the Brooklyn Navy Shipyard. Took 3 years and $100 million to build her. When she was launched, Mary Margaret Truman, the 19-year-old daughter of Harry Truman, was the one that christened the ship. During the christening, she cracked the bottle of champagne on the on the bow of the ship. And years later, after the end of the war, years later, she would say her mink coat that she wore the day she christened the ship still smelled like champagne.
Let's walk down. Where can you take me up on the bridge or along this?
We can go all the way up the starboard side here. We actually, during the Battle of Okinawa, we actually had a kamikaze hit the ship. The damage is down here on the rail. They never bothered to repair it because it basically was a small aluminum fighter aircraft, and this is a big steel battleship, so it took a lot to do much damage to her.
And we're also celebrating our 70th anniversary this year.
How many small guns did they have repelling things like that?
Back in World War II, they had 40 millimeter and 20 millimeter weapons. We had a grand total of about 72 weapons on the ship. scattered about the deck. And where we're standing now, there actually would have been a 20 millimeter battery. There would have been 4 20 millimeter cannons here for ship's defense. Now if you look up, when they modernized her in '84, they added Tomahawk missiles. The large container you see up there would contain 4 Tomahawk missiles. When we were in the Persian Gulf in '91, they actually fired 28 of the 32 Tomahawks that were on board. So when you look up at that box and you see the Tomahawk symbols on the side of the box, that means all 4 of the Tomahawk missiles were actually fired from the ship out of that box.
It's had quite a long history.
1944, well, we kind of like to think she's still alive, but active duty 1944 to 1992.
And it was likely off the coast of Korea shelling and support.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. She participated.
About this gun right here.
These were added in the 90s. We had a naval vessel in the Persian Gulf that was struck by an enemy small boat packed with explosives. At that point, the ship realized that they really didn't have anything that could have the firepower to shoot down from the ship at a closer distance than what the guns on board do. So they added these about the deck so that they could catch anybody that was trying to sabotage the ship. Those would be 50 caliber machine guns. And we're making our way forward up the starboard side. The boat here to our side, that would be the captain's gig. This was added in the 80s so that the captain had a means of getting ashore. The occasion rise where they needed to use them.
Here, do a shot up showing that massive structure up there.
That would be the mast.
Here we can look back at the bow of the captain's boat here.
When the captain was underway, those high railings that you see on the bow would have actually had a sailor standing there.
Oops, sorry.
Oops, that's okay. Now we're approaching the area of the surrender deck. We can go up this step, but I'm going to have to give you the mic. This would be the surrender deck. This was where the surrender was taking place on the 2nd of September 1945. And as soon as the crowd moves away, we'll move up forward here a little bit.
Just, and all these flags and
the colorful pennants that you see up there on the right, those would be her accomplishments and awards for her different battles that she was in. On the bottom right, you see the red, white, and black with the palm trees and crossed swords. That would be for her involvement in Desert Shield, Desert Storm, the first battle. And then the one on the far left with the yin and yang in it, red and green, that would be Korea. And then her World War II ribbons are above that. The big E with the 3 little stripes means that the deck department on here scored an excellent in their refresher training for 3 years consecutive. And it would follow the DCs, would be the damage controlmen doing the same thing, missile department, communications, bosun department, and the black mines would be the mines that she disarmed in the Gulf. No, that would be I have to look. Give me a second. That would be Jacques Leclerc, General Jacques Leclerc from France. The man reading into the microphones is Douglas MacArthur. And then the representatives that were present for the signature from the Allied nations that were aboard. There were 8 Allied nations here. General MacArthur was giving a short speech in which he spoke about the end of the war and the moving forward with the alliance with Japan. The flag that's above is a copy of the flag that General Macarthur had brought in. The original flag is kept at the Smithsonian Institute, and it's a copy of the flag that Commodore Perry flew when he established trade with Japan in 1853. There's 31 stars on the flag. The last star would have been added with the state of California. This compartment contains the captain's dining area and his office. Forward of that would be his stateroom. If you can just barely make out the uniform hanging on the wall in the far left-hand corner.
I see it.
And his berthing area is very nice, and I think I know my wife would really enjoy all the closets he had in there.
I like the early Apple computer on the desk.
That was state-of-the-art back then. And then General MacArthur signed, Admiral Nimitz. Okay, Admiral Nimitz, General Yun Chang, Sir Bruce Fraser from the United Kingdom. I can't even try the Russian. Thomas Blamey from Australia. Colonel Moore from Canada. Jacques Leclerc from France. And then the last nation assignment would be New Zealand. And then finally on the deck would be the medallion where the table sat, where they actually signed the documents. The table sat here that morning. They had a little confusion with the table. The original table was brought by the British. It was handmade, and it was beautiful. It was mahogany. And they got it here, and the documents arrived with General MacArthur, and they found out that the documents were too big for the table. So at 8:30 in the morning, when the surrender is supposed to take place at 9, 8:30 in the morning, they're running about the ship looking for a portable table and found one on the mess deck.
All right, where do you go? Want to go up?
We're walking around now. We're going to be heading up.
I'm sure everybody wants to see the bridge. Not much there. Wouldn't want to be too tall on this ship.
Would you like to go out and listen back to the harpoon boxes?
Sure.
This is the missile. Each of those boxes would contain 4 Tomahawk missiles. As you can see, there's 4 boxes here. Back aft of the structure behind me, there's also 4 more. So we had 8 boxes, 32 missiles.
A lot of firepower you let go in a hurry.
Yes.
We get up, keep going up.
We'll actually go up this way.
Okay. See, entrance down there for the flags.
There's the flying bridge level, the 05 level.
How many men lived aboard?
During World War II, there would have been almost 2,800 men. 4 of these replaced all of the other old anti-aircraft weapons. It's called the Bailey's Close-In Weapon System.
Oh, yeah.
R2D2 by the boys on board. It's a radar guided Gatling.
come along. Virtual photo walks. Virtual